Hey friends, this is Bren from Cherry Grove Farmhouse. Today I am participating in a Christmas recipe collab with Valarie from Valarie Hargett Cooks and Sammi at Managing the Maze. So I'll have their channels listed down below. Go check them out. They have wonderful content that you're gonna love. And also there'll be a playlist for all the awesome Christmas recipes that are going to be in this collaboration linked below as well. So be sure and hit that playlist and check them all out. So let's get to cooking. I'm going to be making a steakhouse soup. Now, that doesn't really sound like a Christmas recipe, I know, but this is something that we would have like on Christmas Eve. This is a very easy throw in the crock pot recipe. You can let this cook all day and then have a really nice hearty meal for Christmas Eve. Or if you do a soup course on Christmas, this might be something that you could serve in your soup course on Christmas. So I'm gonna turn you around and show you what we need to make this soup. So here is everything that you'll need to make the steakhouse soup. Of course, you're gonna need some steak, and honestly, you could use any cut of steak. You could do something more expensive. I chose to use the chuck steak because even though that's not a real tender cut of meat, if you cook it in the crock pot, it's gonna be tender and delicious. So you could use ribeye, you could use, whatever kind of steak that you want, or you could even do ground chuck if you prefer that. So this is the meat we're gonna use. We have an onion, we have some just canned sliced potatoes, and you could like peel your potatoes and cube your potatoes if you wanted to do that, but I'm taking the easy route with just some what I had in my pantry, and it's just the already sliced potatoes in the cans. We're going to use a Campbell's cream and mushroom soup. That's just what I had in my pantry. 32 ounce of beef broth, and then just the seasonings that we're going to put in, some pepper, salt, my favorite Kinder's caramelized onion butter. I use that for everything. A little garlic powder, onion powder, and a little bit of the Montreal seasoning. So this is what is going to go into our steakhouse soup. Let's get it in the crock pot. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna take our steak and we're gonna cut it into, you can do cubes or strips, however you want it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this cut up. I've already got my liner in my crock pot ready to go. You can also use stew meat. I just thought of that as I was standing here, cutting all this meat up. Stew meat probably would work just as good. Yeah. Next is the onion. I'm gonna get it all chopped up and ready to go in. I'm gonna go ahead and get my beef broth into the crock pot, and then I'm gonna stir in my cream of mushroom soup. If you guys use these crock pot liners, they are such a lifesaver so that you don't have such a mess in your crock pot. I don't remember, I cooked something the other day and I forgot to put the liner in, and oh my gosh, I had to scrub and scrub and scrub to get it clean. All right, we're gonna put the cream of mushroom, and you can put actual mushrooms into this, but I just didn't have any on hand, so we're not doing that today. But I've got the cream of mushroom soup. I'm gonna get that in. And get it whisked together. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put my onion in there. And we're gonna put the steak in. Get that all in there. And I've already opened up all my potatoes and I drained the water off of them. So we're gonna get that in. And I just went ahead and did 5 cans. Y'all, if you watch any of my Cherry Grove farmhouse cooking videos previously, I don't follow recipes that accurately unless it's baking. If it's baking, then you have to follow it precisely or it's not gonna turn out right. But everything else I do, I just kind of do it by sight and just by feeling it, if that makes sense. So we got the potatoes in and we're gonna start putting our seasonings in. I'm gonna give this a big stir, get that stirred around. And then we're gonna go for the seasoning. So I'm gonna start with just a little bit of salt because the broth and the soup are pretty salty, so I don't wanna over salt it. We're gonna do some pepper. Like I said, just by sight, not measuring anything out. Some garlic powder, sprinkle some of that. Onion powder. We'll do a couple of dashes of the Montreal steak seasoning. And then of course my favorite is the caramelized onion butter. That's like my favorite seasoning for everything. And we'll give a generous amount of that. All right, we're gonna give that another stir. Make sure we've got it all mixed up. And then I'm gonna add about a cup of water. There we go. Now, if you want this to be thicker, you can like make a little slurry with either flour and water or cornstarch and water. That's just up to you and your taste. I'll see how it looks as it cooks up because the potatoes might help thicken it some. So that just depends on how thick you want your soup to be. Okay, we're gonna pop the lid on and we're just gonna let it do its thing. The steakhouse soup has been in the crock pot probably for about 6 hours. I cooked it on high for about 2 hours and then I turned it to low for the last 4. It's looking really good. I'm gonna dish some up and we're gonna give it a try. Okay, the soup has cooled enough for me to take a test taste. Got some potato and some onion and a piece of the steak. Cheers. The steak is really tender and the potatoes and the onion give it such a good flavor. 10 out of 10. This would be a great soup just for every day, but it also could be something that you would serve on Christmas Eve or even Christmas Day. Thanks guys for watching. Be sure and go down below and check out Valarie and Sammi's channels and the playlist of all the yummy Christmas food. I'm sure you're gonna enjoy every one of them. All right guys, I'll see you soon. Whoa, oh, oh. Da, 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 oh, oh. Da, 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 oh, oh. Da, 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 da. Making our Christmas memories.